Hello, and welcome to Hope for Felons podcast, where we discuss felons and everything in between. Your host for this show is Douglas Van Vliet. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, and welcome back to Hope for Felons. We're so glad to have you on the show. As this month we will be talking, this is the month of May 2022, we will be covering jobs and living conditions among felons. And we know this is a hot topic because these are two important factors once a person is released to be able to get a job and get housing. That is one of our biggest caller. We get a lot of calls. Sorry about that. I got tongue tied. We get a lot of calls from inmates that have been released, and they're asking about trying to find them jobs and also about housing. And I find that more people are having issues with housing. One in particular that lived in Raleigh that was trying to find housing that has been out of prison for 5 years and still having issues trying to find an apartment. So we know that these issues does arise, and one today I want to talk just a little bit about jobs. Um, that's what I want to focus on today. And one of the things that I suggest, if your loved one is going to be at the halfway house, and the halfway house is a long distance from where you live, then I would suggest them to go to the temporary services and try to work as much as possible with them until they are released from the halfway house, because of the fact that a lot of times you don't really want to get in to something that's full-time and then have to say, well, I'm sorry, I'm going to be relocating on this day. I mean, you can do it, but I always suggest people to go the route of the temporary services, because a lot of times you work that day, you get paid that day. Um, and also during this pandemic, most halfway houses are saying, you don't have to pay us to stay here because the BOP actually takes care of it. So that's been a good look on the halfway houses and the people that are there, because they no longer, right now, they don't have to pay to stay there. Like, you usually have to give a certain percent of their check to them. You no longer have to do it at this time. Nobody knows when it's going to start back up, since the pandemic supposedly is almost over, so we'll see. But let's talk a little bit about the jobs when uh, they are either released to the halfway house and going to be staying in that area, or when they actually get home and get ready to find employment. Well, one thing that I have noticed, and it seems to be a trend that works, and that is when filling out your application, where it says felon, have you committed a felony, you put will discuss at interview. That seems to be a growing trend that works and get your foot in for that interview. Because a lot of times if you put down a lot of stuff, then they might not even call you back for an interview. They're going to say, no, we don't want nothing to do with it. But at least if you put on there, we'll discuss an interview, then it gives them a chance and you a chance to get together to be able to explain the qualities that you have. Now, there is a lot of companies that will hire offenders. There's several out there, Walmart being one. Um, we also know that Amazon, they're big on hiring offenders. I have a friend of mine that actually drives for Amazon that was incarcerated. So I do know that there are a lot of companies that do hire, as well as there's a lot that don't hire. So you have to try to get your foot in the door and you have to have a positive outlook when you're going job searching. Job searching can be difficult, especially if they tell you no. Of course, that is discouraging, but you have to keep going. Um, but I do know that at the halfway houses, they do have job coordinators there. The job coordinators will help in trying to make sure that you get employed. Especially these days, where they don't have to pay. When they did have to pay, then it seemed like they was more on the ball to get a person employed. But that's neither here nor there. But like I said, you know, if you are looking for employment and you can't seem to find anything, please contact us. We do have companies and stuff that we can work with in some states, not all states. We can help, but if you give us a call or send us an email, our email is info@hopeforfelons.com, and you can reach us by phone at any time because we're open 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you can actually reach out to us and we will try our best to help you. But our phone number here at Hope for Felons is area code 336-517-7861. That number again is 336-517-7861. And most of the time I have it forwarded to my cell phone, but if it's not and you get the auto attendant, then if you actually press 1, then it will be rerouted uh, to a support specialist. So we will be able to try to help you. So we do have a large resource list. If you are not listening to this on our website, then you can go to www.hopeforfelons.com. That's spelled out, hopeforfelons.com. And we do have a large resource list, which if you go to services, then that's where we have our large resource list available, which lists in every state. That's what we try to do is make sure that we have um, plenty of resources in every state. Some of them may not be up and running because of COVID. We are going to be going through our resource list here in the next few days, so that way we can see who all was affected and had to close because of COVID, and which one's still open, and if there's any new ones that's come up as well. But today I want to end this podcast by saying there is hope for a felon. Until next time, this is Doug, and we hope you tune in again to Hope for Felons. Thank you.